Welcome to Grit, the Real Estate Growth Mindset podcast, hosted by Brian Charlesworth, founder of Sisu. Sisu provides growth automation software for real estate. You'll hear stories from real estate thought and technology leaders, team owners, and brokers on how they grew their business in a rapidly changing industry. You'll learn how to transform your brokerage and teams into a high-performing and analytics-driven business so you have a new, durable, competitive advantage against disruption in your market. So let's get right into it.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Grit podcast. I'm excited about our episode today. So I've got a little story to tell you. We were at KW's family reunion. I guess it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And I had just left. Thankfully, I got invited to speak a few times there. And I had just left that day, and Zach, who heads up our sales, was in a breakout, and he took a picture of the screen and he said, "You need to get each one of these individuals on your podcast." And one of them had already been on the podcast about, a year and a half ago. And, but the other three had not. So today I'm here with Gaurav Gambhir, and he was one of the celebrities on that stage in that meeting. So anyway, he I'll give you a high level overview of some of the things he's done. He started with a small team of 4 agents. He now has a team of 60 agents. He also owns a KW Market Center. So you're now an OP, is my understanding. And he also has a large property management company and several other ancillary businesses. So for those of you in real estate, like this is how you want to grow your business. I would pay close attention because we're going to get a lot of great advice here today. Gaurav, is there anything else you would like to share that I've left out here? Because I know that's a very quick summary on your amazing career here of 20 plus years in the real estate industry.
That was a great introduction, and I'm really humbled to have that as well. Thanks for having me on the show. And I'll just add, I'm privileged to be a father of an 8-year-old daughter, and that's my life that I thoroughly enjoy. So while with work comes great work-life balance as well.
Okay. So I want you to add to that. Maybe you could just tell us your story. I understand you're an immigrant. Tell us, how did you end up in the U.S., and then how did you end up in real estate?
I came to this country in 1997, right after high school. Plan was to be the best computer programmer the world has ever seen. So I came to Drexel University in Philadelphia, and they have a great internship program. I wanted to do co-ops, make enough money, go back to school, pay for the education. I didn't come here with enough money for me to have education, so I wanted to pay it while I was working. And I graduated in 2001, December. I had a job lined up with Unisys to be a software engineer. It was right after 9/11. So all the software engineering jobs were frozen. I got laid off before I started, and I had to find something to do and picked up an opportunity in a company to be an IT professional, which was probably the lowest paying job at that time, but happened to be a real estate company. So I coincidentally fell into real estate as an IT person in a company that did real estate, and I picked it up from there.
So when you say it was a real estate company, was it a brokerage? Who was it? Where did you land?
They owned industrial warehouses and commercial shopping centers.
Okay.
And they were trying to get into the residential world a little bit more. And I thought it would be great to make some extra money on the evenings and weekends. And we were paying other brokers 1 month fee for leasing the units. And I was the one who was going and handling the construction and TI and the leasing and the keys. And I said, why can't I make some of this money? And my boss at that time said, because you don't have a license. I said, what if I got a license? He said, as long as you do it after hours. I said, sure, I can work on the weekends. I said, go for it. I said, would you pay for my school? He said, sure. And I got my license, and I started making some money on the side in the evenings and the weekends. And I bought my first place using my license, saved a lot of money. And I thought, this is nice, and then all my friends, all of a sudden I became an expert with all my friends who were engineers and doctors who graduated from college, and they were IT professionals. And then I became the real estate professional expert for them.
How old were you at this time?
23. I got married very early in life. So we've been married for 20 years now.
Well, if you still want to be the world's best software engineer, I would love to have you join us here at Sisu. So just keep that in mind. That's still open. Like, you can always go back to that if you choose. But
hopefully real estate is doing fine for me for now. If it changes, I'll let you know.
I was going to say, with the career you've built, I don't see that one happening anymore. So you started you started selling real estate for this group. And then how did you get into KW and then get into teams? And that was right around when Gary wrote the MREA book. So I'm guessing that had an influence on you as well.
A little bit, for sure. I was given so right after, when I was at my previous job working full time. My goal, I've been very entrepreneurial. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad, my uncle, my cousins have all owned businesses all their lives. So I had that entrepreneurial bug in me. And I've always been doing some odd businesses on the side, no matter what it is, since I've been probably 15 years old. At some point, I told myself, how do I build something for myself instead of building it for somebody else? And then, but I didn't have the funds. I didn't have the comfort level of leaving my job and becoming an entrepreneur. So I told myself, the day I make 50% of my money by being a dual career person, where I can have a full-time job and I can have a second career of selling real estate. But the minute I make 50% of my money selling real estate, I'm going to take a leap of faith in myself to have a comfort level for me to move on. I did that in 2007. I joined KW as my first brokerage company. And I remember at that time, I had about 3 transactions under my belt. And I wanted to open a property management company because it was very challenging because I had a full-time position. Lead generation technology didn't exist as much. It was an extremely strong contact sport where I had to be in front of people, which I didn't have the time to do it. And I had a hesitation of me having English as a second language to go in front of a large crowd and talk about real estate. So I could only talk to people that were close to me. So I said, well, if we can go face front, people are having a challenge pronouncing my name. I'm an immigrant. I don't know many people. How can I go and get the clientele? So I said, if I can go from the front, I'll go from the back. And the way to go from the back is if I manage their asset and I can maintain my relationship with them all year round. When the time comes in for them to buy another investment property or for them to sell this asset or rent this asset, I will be the natural person to get that opportunity. Since I had a computer science degree, I was very, very number oriented in my approach. So it's all about numbers from me. And I went to my broker at that time and I said, I think we don't have a property management. Here's a concept. You have a lot of agents. Let's talk about how to build a property management company. And he asked me a simple question. I said, how much transactions have you done? He said, 3 sales and 2 rentals. And I said, you want to start a property management company? He said, yeah. And he said, that makes no sense. Why don't you get more experience? Rightfully so. If I was him, I would probably say the same thing. But I was just nuts at that time. And I wanted to do something right away. I was very aggressive. So I approached a friend of mine who's an appraiser. And I said, we're going to start a new brokerage company. And we're going to start a property management division along with it. I convinced him. He believed in me. We started it. And I formed a company called Mega Realty. We grew that company to about 70 agents in about 18 months. And I had the opportunity 2 years later to buy a company called the Condo Shop in the city of Philadelphia, which I did. Sold my first company and became partners here. And then my journey began to continue growing my organization from about 4 agents in Condo Shop. We built Rent Philly as another division for rentals. We built Black Label Luxury. And now in the group of 3 divisions that we run, we have about 60 people in the company.
So I love this story. You're an immigrant into the U.S. Where are you from originally?
India.
From India. Okay. Mm-hmm. Which India is known for having great technology, right? So you come to the U.S. and people can't pronounce your name. And what I love is the grit. And that's why this podcast is called Grit. Because when you decided already, you were going to make this happen. You were going to be successful no matter what. It didn't matter who told you no. It didn't matter how many times you got told this was impossible. You were going to make it happen. And I love this story because I think anybody has that opportunity. if they just have the same commitment to it that you had. And so anyway, it's a very unique approach. The fact that you immediately started a property management company. And I mean, I'm guessing there are so many team owners out there today. My wife is a team owner. I wish we had a property management company, but we don't. So tell us more about that, and why would I, or not me, but why would I as a team owner want to get into property management?
One thing I'll add, Brian, as well, that I think everybody has that grit inside them. Everybody has, people fear themselves of succeeding because of the unknown factor. We think there's a competition outside with other people and other team members. It's not the outside competition you have to worry about. It's the inside competition we have to really take care of. We are competing with ourselves internally. That tells us, we use the word drunk monkey, or, your own big why. That is all part of the competition that you have internally with yourself. And early on in life, I told myself, what's the worst that can happen? Since I had an immigrant background, I came in with nothing. I said, that's the worst that can happen, is I will end up with nothing. And I started with nothing. It is recent. Let's give it a shot. So I think everyone should dig deeper and give yourself a push. I think we all have it internally. People who take the risk ends up with the benefit, and they end up talking about it. And the others are trying to get that motivation to give them the push to happen. So hopefully this gives them the push that if I can do it, who has English as a second language, and I think in Hindi and I translate in English, if I can do it in this land of opportunities, you can too. So going to your next question.
I love that you shared that, because you're not competing against anybody else. And it's true. You are competing against yourself. And it's that self-talk. And you talked about the why. You have to have a big why to get over that self-talk inside of us that's going on, saying, you can't do this, right?
It's a mindset.
That out of your head, out of your way. It's the only thing stopping us is us, right? The only thing stopping me is me. And if I can get myself out of the way, the opportunity is there to do whatever I want.
100%. So true and well said. You asked me a question of why should we start a property management company?
Yeah.
I think we are still in this age of technology, in a very relationship-based contact sport of real estate. What happens, people are, today with the money being cheap for financing, creative financing opportunities for investments, a lot of talk around the Burr model, wealth building. People are now getting exposed to the opportunity of understanding the tax benefits of what can an asset do for you long-term in helping you build passive income and wealth. I think that is a very helpful thing for a lot of people to do that. And that being said, in the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of wealth has been accumulated by the upper tier, who was in these sectors of making a lot more money and opportunities during the COVID market. We saved a lot of money because we weren't really traveling or spending a lot of money with the fear of what the unforeseen future may bring to us. So that created this savings that people are now investing in real estate. If people are doing that, we need to be at the forefront of being able to capture that relationship. And how do you stay in touch with them outside of the buying cycle? It's when they're holding the asset. So if you stay in touch with them and help them manage the asset that they have spent their lifelong savings in, I think that creates a relationship for long-term other opportunities that may bring to the table as well. So I took the approach of going from the back end to get the business, but now the business can be from the forefront. If you have property management, you have investors in your group, you have potential renters that are coming in. The renters can be first-time buyers. Property management gives you passive income on a monthly basis as a cash register. You can create systems and processes, use technology much better than before. Unfortunately, it's such a heavy, compliant, and labor-intensive opportunity that many people don't get into it, or they can't really make money for a larger, till they get to a larger portfolio. And I think the number is somewhere around 800 to up to 1,000 units. Unless you get there as a pure individual large business. That was my goal. But even at 5 units, you can make the same amount of money if that's your goal to do it. But you don't have to do it yourself. You could team up with a property management company that offers the back-end support, and you can be the face to the relationship as well. So if you look at property management in a different angle, you don't have to start a company for every single thing that you want to do. you can align yourself with the right people who are doing it and hire their services for the back end and be the face to the company. I think it's imperative. Everyone needs to be part of this relationship building for lead generation and for future business.
So if I look at the industry as a whole, most team owners, they definitely have either started or have their eye on starting a mortgage and a title company. Many of those are happening through a JV. You're saying in the case of this property management, you recommend the same thing. Go find a JV partner so you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You can be the face, front end. You can drive, revenue to the business and let somebody actually manage it for you.
100%. And I have a lot of friends in the KW industry that we are discussing right now how my company as TCS Management, part of TCS Group, can create that opportunity of a solution in a box where a partner of ours can be the foot on the ground who's creating the relationship, getting the investors, and they can place them in a joint venture that we can create. Let us handle all the back end of compliance, accounting, follow-ups, utilities, lease preparation, anything that is admin, we can handle in the back end. And the face and the boots on the ground can be that partner, which is, most people who are in the sales business enjoy that part.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that you guys are actually building this national joint venture company. So no matter where you are, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to start this property management company, somebody should reach out to you and you would joint venture with them. Is that correct?
Would love to have that conversation because I think we have figured out in the last 10 years, we have made more mistakes than we hope other people have to make to get to the point where we are. And we can provide that solution in the box for them.
Well, good. I'm going to have Spring give you a call.
Okay.
So that's great to know. So you have this group, you just mentioned TCS Group. What else do you guys do there? That's a holding company that has a bunch of different businesses in it, it sounds like. Tell us more about that.
So our first company was the Condo Shop, and TCS came from the most creative way. The Condo Shop became TCS, and that was our world. The Condo Shop was a world. We grew out of the condominium world by providing a lot more rentals in the city of Philadelphia. We are a vertical city, and a lot of high rises. We got in the rental market. We exclusively represent close to about 18,000 units, and we do over 1,000 leases a year. So Rent Philly came by to offer the solution to rentals in the city. Then we got into a luxury market. So Black Label was our luxury trademark in the country to be able to offer those services. I ended up buying a Market Center, which is a brokerage company of Keller Williams as a franchise, and that helped us expand into a new title company, an insurance company, a transaction management company, a media company. We had the property management company. We started a fund to help our investors buy assets. So TCS Anika Homes came about. Our multifamily and condominium management company came about called Madison Park. And then we just started growing more and more into, but interestingly, every company came by because of a need than a want. And we were creating it with a unique product, not knowing how the future would look like. So at one point, we look back and said, people don't understand that all these are part of one umbrella. So TCS Group is our answer that we want to continue now providing these solutions that we have created. How can we put everything and as many things as possible in a box and go in and try to implement that in other cities ourselves or with other partners to find a solution for both of us at the same time? So TCS Group is the new company, that umbrella company that we are announcing very soon. And most of our marketing is going to happen under that brand.
Okay. So a lot of people, when they start thinking about building all these businesses, like you're a true entrepreneur, like you said, your family has that instilled in you. So a lot of people, when they think about doing that, they always think they have to do it themselves. My guess is you have somebody running each of these businesses.
I don't have a single company where I don't have at least one partner.
Yes. Okay. And that partner in that company is that's 100% of their focus.
majority of the times. Each person has taken their one thing and dedicated to that company. As I realized my one thing couldn't be any one of them, I found a person that could make their one thing in that company.
Yeah. I mean, you're the rainmaker, right? That's the beautiful thing about real estate. Somebody in real estate, how many transactions are you guys doing on your 60 agent team right now?
We did 1,544 transactions and 365 million last year.
I'm sorry, 1,500 you said?
1,500 transactions and 365 million in
okay, 365 million in volume. So 1,500 transactions, that's a lot of transactions. So think about if you have 1,500 transactions, first of all, congratulations. Like that's a huge feat in its own, right? And now you've said, hey, I've got 1,500 transactions. I can do a lot more than just make money from real estate. I can put all these other businesses together and provide for these guys. And not only do you make more money, but you actually control their experience, which, I mean, that's really the end game, right? Controlling the experience all the way through.
It's the same thing with the Apple model. A long time ago, Apple decided that nobody could sell their product as well as Apple could, so they opened the retail shops, and then said, nobody can provide the experience, so we're going to have our own employees provide the support and service. I think that's what really defined what Apple is. If I remember my first Apple, when I broke the phone by dropping it, I took it to the Apple store and they said, no questions asked, we'll replace the screen for you. Like I became a customer for life because that
you and me both.
Yeah. So we started thinking, how do we provide in real estate a one-stop shop, and an experience for everybody? So every time we were sending a client to a title company and they would say something indifferent about the title company, we said, well, we can do this ourselves and provide a better service. And then also in one transaction, there are many ways of making a financial benefit that you can divide smaller portions, but you can make equal or more money by having the whole bandwidth of the process from start to end. And that's where we started plugging in. And even in our property management company, the first time when we sat down about 4 years ago and said, how much money do we pay for painting for all the units that we manage to the outside company? And we came up with a number, I think like 600,000 or something, and said, even if you made 15% profit by managing the people or hiring somebody in-house and controlling the experience where you can send someone to do touch-ups for free, provide people to show back up again, it's a $100,000 business. Well, then we said, how much for plumbers and how much for electricians? And how you start going through the process and say, it's not just about property management, there's a repair and maintenance portion of it. So S&A renovations came into existence. So you can look at your whole portfolio today and say, where can I add value? Where can I add a better experience? That'll automatically create opportunities for you.
If you've been enjoying Grit, please help us continue to grow the channel by leaving a 5-star review and sharing it with a friend. Now back to Grit.
I think that's why you've been so successful, because you're focused. Obviously, the money is important to you, but you're focused on providing a better experience to your clients. And if that's your focus, it's going to drive you to come up with better solutions. Whereas if your focus is just the money, you're not doing it for the right reason, you're probably not going to provide the same experience for your clients.
And I hope so that stays with our team as well. That focus needs to stay, and that's part of community and culture that you want to build and the vision you want to give to your team members. This is what we want to achieve. Money and success will come as a byproduct. Someone asked me a long time ago, are you doing this for money? And for a second, this is like going back 5 or 10 years, and I said, yes, I am doing this for money as well. And I said, but am I doing this only for money?
Right.
Well, the answer is no, I am not. And I said, well, what are you working for? And at that point, I said, I don't know. I like doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, but why do you like doing it? It took me a while to figure it out. And I heard someone say this on some podcast or a book I read, I forget where it was. What does a serial entrepreneur mean? And the answer to that I thought to myself was, a serial entrepreneur is someone who looks at a problem and tries to make it better. And once you try to make it a little bit better, you try to make it even more better. And then once you get to that point, then you try to make it optimize even further out. And then through the whole process, you find another problem and you try to solve that problem. So your brain always works on, how do I make everything better? But in real life, sometimes there's a challenge between a thin line between being annoying and to your team members, and you're trying to make everything better. And you have to have a good balance where not everything needs to be better, but every opportunity has a potential of getting better. So that's what I think a serial entrepreneur is, and I take enjoyment in it. That's my fun part.
Yeah. So something that everyone here can relate to. Can you give me just like a high level overview of your real estate team, just the team, and what your structure looks like? Like, who are the people on that team? Because so many people in your shoes, they think they have to do everything. And I'm trying to get this, like somebody like you have it figured out of how to build and scale businesses. So I'd love for you to just start with the real estate team and tell us about your structure, your organization, and who are the who's in your business that means so much to the success.
Absolutely. And that has been a struggle and a mission and a goal for myself, that I don't want to have a job title. And I think I'm almost there at this point. I don't have to be in one place for any one reason where I need to perform a job duty today. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So I'll talk about my real estate team. My real estate team is divided into 3 divisions. It's a condo. I have a partner there, and we have one transaction manager with one virtual assistant who's helping them. We have one marketing director, one marketing specialist, and a VA supporting them. We have one ISA. We have one marketing transaction, and then just a director of operations. So we're on a pretty tight ship. And then we have 2 people who are a sales, who are a mentorship program, a lead sales and a lead buyer, selling agent, and lead buyer's agent. So that's a tight, close group for the condo shop. Rental, one virtual assistant who helps process all the paperwork on the back end, and a director of operations. Our luxury division, 2 partners who are the rainmakers and supporting the team, and one marketing specialist and an assistant. Altogether, maybe about 10 employees at this point. And we're trying to bring in more virtual assistants and trying to automate as much as we can.
Yeah. So I love that you brought up automation. Automation is something I'm very passionate about. Tell us, when you say we love to automate as much as we can, what does that mean?
I'll give you an example. So you start a company, a great company, because you found a need where you could plug in and provide a solution. And you saw that it can be used at a larger scale. In our world, so I'll take rental as an example. We have at any given time close to about 500 active listings on the rentals. An agent is trying to schedule them. That scheduling appointment has to now go through showing time to the building management. Their leasing team looks at it. They may or may not be able to accommodate that showing request. If there's a change, they'll send it back and cancel it. And that information has to be sent back to the other agent, and the whole coordination has to happen in between. That is a very large, extensive portion of our business for rentals. I think most probably that's the reason why many people say it's not worth my time doing the same time. So we took all those things. We hired a company, created proprietary software, and our director of operations and our partner in the rental division was spearheading it. And at this point, from the time someone makes a request, everything in between, till the point it goes back to the original agent with any changes or time changes or cancellation, or if a unit is available or not available, everything happens through a bot, and it is automated. Nobody touches it. That has freed up a huge, huge portion of, we probably needed 3 full-time people just to schedule it. That was a huge savings and faster.
So that's saved you 3 people in your organization can now focus on other things because they're not having to do that. Is that properly stated?
Very, very fair. And the experience got much better from the agent who was requesting it, who I used to get phone calls from them all the time. Gaurav, it is impossible and painful to show one of your listings, because the minute I ask for a change, it has to go through 5 different people, 5 different processes. Somebody's calling me, somebody's texting me. And now they love showing up for our listings.
Yeah, such a great example. I was in a meeting at Family Reunion. It was an offsite put on by Leverage, which is a ops coaching company. And Seth Campbell, do you know him? So Seth came in and he was the keynote, and he was talking about and I'm only bringing this up because you're talking about automations, but I love the way he basically said, any place that you have to enter something in more than one place. So any place there's duplicate entry, you can create an automation that would solve that, which each time you do that, you're saving tens of hours, 20, however many hours a month, right? I mean, could be hundreds of hours, just depending. So, or he also said, anytime you're having to put something into a spreadsheet, like, can you eliminate that spreadsheet? And so I love the way he said it, because obviously that's a big focus of ours at Sisu, is eliminating all these duplicate entries and all these spreadsheets. And just the way he said it, though, was it was just like, wow, yeah. If you just look at it that simple, like, what would this one automation be? If I list out all these areas, just an example I like to use is, if you could just automate that email, congratulations, we're under contract, that goes out to 7 different people. How much time does that save your TC?
Our transaction manager has a folio, and that came in because of the same reason. You draft a script that you send for every transaction, and you just use that, and then you start seeing, first you create the draft so you can use it again and again. It's like a template. Yep. Then you say, well, how can I save more time for that person not to even go and create it? So you can create automation where if you enter in one spot, here's a new transaction, it can trigger different responses and tasks automatically. And the emails and the follow-ups, which are pretty generic, that can just go out automatically, a certain shading of the task. And I think we're finding fun in doing it. And it also saves us and avoids us to adding more resources every single time you add another 400 transactions. Because I get this question asked a lot. Well, if it's 1,500 transactions, how many people do you have? Because the mindset works as large transactions, large support. Not necessarily true. Yeah. The fun part is, how do you do more with less?
Yes. We share in that. So you found ways to do it like Folio. Sisu, just so you guys know, like, this is what we do. We're your intake forms. And any key date you put in there can fire an automation, which fires a Trello-like task list and automated emails and all that kind of stuff. And like, figure a way to do that, right? Sisu is one way you could do that. Figure out, no matter what you do, if it's not Sisu, figure out a way to do that, because it's going to change your business. Like, you can't scale. I had a team owner come up to me in the mid-year last year, and he was doing 150 transactions the year before. He got to 500 last year, mid-year. And he said, Brian, I can't scale. Like, I can't do this. Like, you need to help me figure out how to get to 800 or 1,000 transactions with my existing team. And we were able to do that. But like you said, it's fun to figure out how to not hire people to scale, but to build systems to scale and automations.
And I think that's why when I grabbed this, our whole team is working right now to understand, how we can use this value from Sisu. And we're not active users of Sisu yet, but I think more and more we read about it and we understand it, and talking to a lot more people about it. Our whole team is super excited, because we were very limited in our approach to sending an automated email. But when you add some AI and task-oriented tasks to it, your whole process and checklist changes.
Yes.
And that is a whole different level of automation and growth that we can have. So thank you for spending your time and your team's time in building some amazing opportunities and software and solutions. So we are excited to look at this and see how we can help grow our business.
I didn't even know you were looking at it, but I'm excited to hear that. And just know you can reach out to me personally anytime. So as you guys go through that. So tell us about your model. You've mentioned ISA, and I wanted to talk about ISAs because 2 years ago, everybody in this industry, I mean, I speak, we have thousands of teams on our platform now. So, and I spend a lot of time with our team leaders, and I've had several of them on my podcast, or we've had events where I've interviewed them. And, everyone was talking a couple of years ago about, hey, I'm trying to figure out this ISA thing. or I'm going to figure out this ISA thing. What's their big change that they were going to do last year? They were going to hire an ISA or maybe more. And so now everybody's kind of in that world. Almost everybody has an ISA now. And now it's figuring out, okay, how can I get that ISA to make it to where I'm closing an additional 10 transactions, an additional 20 transactions a month. And now I'm going to expand that up to 3 or 4 ISAs. And, I'm going to get it to where I'm doing another 50 transactions a month, whatever that is. And so I'd love to hear from you, because you're like this creator of all these businesses. I'd love to hear from you, your perspective of the importance, number one, of building an ISA. And then I'd love to hear your experience of where you guys are at in that journey.
So we are part of the same bandwagon of trying to figure out, we're the new kid on the block for the ISA opportunity. I think we got into a little bit late, but better be late than never. And the concept was something that I think we were, many times you try to dodge a solution because you are in denial that it will actually exist, and purely because it takes a lot of work in building a new process or a company. So ISA is a complete new process that goes into your sales and changes everything, or forces you to change everything, and you want to give a pushback and try to avoid it till everybody else is on it. And it's like, oh my God, maybe I'm missing out or something. So I think we were somewhere similar to that situation. And the benefit that I see is, take Zillow as an example. Zillow had the maximum number of eyes on their website. They created the maximum number of lead generation in a year, sent it out to people, our agents, who were either buying it or just getting it. And Zillow did not have any way or understanding of who those clients were, because if I remember the statistics correctly, over 95% of the people did not register on Zillow. They just clicked, and it was being sent forward to somebody else. So they had eyes, but no control, and there was no experience besides, I'm going to let you search and send up. Then they realized, well, agents may or may not be providing the same level of service or closing or converting the leads. And how do we know which ones are helping convert the leads? Then they added an ISA department in between. And once they started doing that, they realized it's so much more valuable. Then we can just hire a local salesperson in every market. It became a brokerage company. And then they realized, well, if I can give it to those people or other agents in the industry, I can create Google Flex and charge a 35% referral fee, give or take, depending on the market. So that was an evolution of how Zillow came by. And as a team, you start looking at it, it's like, well, that makes sense. Because when I give a lead to my agents in the company, if we are not using a CRM, that forces the agent to use the CRM. And that's a challenge sometimes, because people in your team may give you pushback not to use it. We don't know what they said. We don't know when they're meeting. All those things is very at a local level of the agent who's in our team. And if the agent is not performing their job at the highest level, or if the agent ends up leaving or moving on or decides not to be in business, we were only as good as that agent. But you cannot provide an Apple service or an Apple model if you are very local, individual agent based or performance based. You have to bring it back to a place where everyone is forced to use it and understand it. But how do you do that? Instead of teaching 60 people to spend time on non-income producing activities, where you can maximize their results and our results, you bring that back in-house where one person is the point of contact. Everything flows through that bottle, and you're not the bottleneck. That's why you hire more ISS through that bottle hole, where you understand what's happening. You can hold your agents accountable. And then if they drop the ball, you can pick up where they left off. So you're not at the mercy of the agent or the team member for their expertise. You are building your own process, what the team and company does. Mm-hmm. So I think it's pretty simple and easy to follow. It's easily scalable. You can add multiple people by adding more lead sources as well, and helps agents make more money.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Are you a Zillow Flex team?
We are.
Okay. I figured you were based on your description of Zillow. So you've been in real estate for a long time now. You obviously have a great business mind. I'd love to hear, and we only have a few minutes here, but I'd love to hear where you see the real estate industry going. And as a business owner in real estate, what are the things you should be focused on right now so that you can stay ahead of the curve and stay in the game? Because it's changing, right?
it has already changed from the time when I started, and I'm sure it's going to continue changing as well. I think it's going to, and I'm privileged, and I'm not making a plug-in for KW, but I'm privileged to be a member of the top 100 teams in the country in Gary Keller's mastermind. So he's someone that I look up to for his vision and for his education and training on the mindset that he helps us get better and pushes the limits. So I see and I hear the top 100, 200 teams in the country, how they're thinking, what they're working on. And the answer is coming out again and again to be the same. It is agents are still going to be needed. A lot of stuff is going to be used by technology. Clients are going to use us for our fiduciary duty primarily for what is needed to help them do the transaction, not open doors. So we have to start getting out of the mindset of it's not showing the property that's valuable. That is one of my smallest jobs. What I need to focus is the other value proposition. Can I help them find a painter? Can I help them move into the place better? Can I have the Comcast taken care of when they're moving in? How about a dog walker? Do they like the 3 restaurants they're moving in? Can I help them figure out the local monthly pass for the train transportation? Anything else that goes along, title, insurance, home inspection, home warranty, I need to focus on the whole experience. And if I can manage that, nobody can beat that. No technology can take that away from my personal interaction with the individual, and that's your client for life. So I think every agent in my mind should start focusing on that. Every team leader needs to start focusing on how they can provide that value to your team so that they can succeed at the highest level. And if you're able to offer all of those things, you don't really have to suppress your commission. Yeah. You can add value and charge the same or charge more. If you don't, the client is going to push down on you to pay you less because you're not providing the same value anymore.
Gaurav, it's so funny. Like everything you say, it's totally in line with my vision here. So I would recommend that everybody rewind this and listen to that last 60 seconds again, because that is your differentiator now. And just a little, this is definitely not a Sisu show, but Sisu is actually rolling out a client portal right now to empower you to do all of those things and have the Domino's Pizza Tracker app type thing where you can communicate with your clients on where they're at in that journey of getting to closed. So anyway, thank you for sharing that. There are a lot of ways to get there. And, we're just here focused on empowering teams to really dominate the future of this industry. Because my belief is teams are the future of the industry. The brokerage, traditional brokerage, will be a team in the future.
100%. Our market center is taking the same approach. Yeah. Our productivity coaching team in our market center at this point is the 6th largest group in the market center.
Yes. Just another example. I also believe that, you have those solo agents that are like Mike Ferry agents that know how to produce leads. I think they're going to be okay for a while, although they're going to have a hard time competing at the service level when you have people like you doing all these ancillary things that they're never going to be able to do that. But a brand new agent coming into the industry, in my opinion, even today, will not survive if they're not on a team, because there's just so much value that is coming from people like you, just taking the experience for the consumer, for the client to a whole new level. So anyway.
If I may add one last thing, Brian, I know you're short on time. Don't look at teams as someone who takes things away from you. Look as a team as a platform where you can build your own brand on. Nobody wants to build the iOS and build another Apple. They can sell apps on the Apple platform or the iOS platform or the Android platform and be very, very successful. You don't have to think of this as a team takes something away from you. If an agent joins our team, we tell them the first pitch you make is I'm a member of the 9th largest Keller Williams team in the country. We do over 1,500 transactions with $365 million worth of volume. I bring a lot of experience behind me, and here's 9 people that can service me and my clients. And this is what I bring to the table on my first listing presentation. You cannot have that as an individual agent. It's not a bad idea to do it if you wanted to, but don't look at this as someone who's going to take something away. It's what you bring to the table. people look at the percentage or the commission structure. It's the opportunity lost that you don't count on, because if there are 3 more transactions you could have won, which you didn't get, that changes everything.
Percentage means nothing. Income means everything. So look at the income you can make by joining a team. Don't look at the percentage split, because that doesn't matter. It's about, you can be a brand new agent and come in and join a team and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And that's incredible.
Absolutely. So, that's why one of my favorite books is Profit First. That's a great book, and it's changed my perspective on how I look at things. It's not the ego and the volume, it's the profit that you make at the end of the year on your team. If you're not, what does the volume do for you? Nothing.
Yes. Okay. Well said. Gaurav, it's been great getting to know you today. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. If I didn't have another commitment in 1 minute, I would actually go deeper with you, because this is a lot of fun. But thank you so much. Really looking forward to getting to know you and spending more time with you. So thanks for joining us on the show today. And we'll stay in touch. Okay.
My pleasure. And my way to get in contact with me will be Gaurav, Gaurav, at thecondoshops.com. Thanks for having me today.
So again, you guys reach out. He's got a lot of ancillary businesses. Feel free to reach out and partner. That may be your solution to jumping into the different businesses, many different businesses that Gaurav has built. So thanks again, Gaurav.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us on our podcast. If you have an interest in a free 7-day trial of Sisu, go to sisu.co, sisu.co. Make sure that you use the coupon code GRIT, that's GRIT, to waive all your setup fees and receive a 10% discount on your subscription. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and want to subscribe, search GRIT, the Real Estate Growth Mindset, on iTunes, Spotify, or Podbean. And with that, we'll catch you next time. Take care.